Hello and welcome to my Instrumental Methods class final project presentation. For our assignment, we were given the task of creating programs which consisted of 3 songs for middle school band, high school symphonic band, high school orchestra or middle school orchestra, and high school wind ensemble, and then to present on 2 of those. I've chosen to present here on middle school band and high school orchestra. For middle school band, the first composition that I chose for my late fall winter program is called Portrait of a Clown by Frank Ticheli. The publisher is Manhattan Beach Music. It's a grade level 2 composition composed in 1988. The length is 5 minutes long. There are some concepts here that are going to prove to be challenging for my students. For example, there's multiple tonal centers in B flat Lydian, F major, A flat major, and even F harmonic minor. That I think is pretty important because I think with, especially with middle school bands, they tend to think in mostly in major and maybe every now and then in minor, but not so much in Lydian and possibly not harmonic minor either. So I think it's a good exposure for them for that. It also has a lot of legato and staccato phrasing, which isn't really anything out of the ordinary, but it's the 2 most common phrasings that everyone needs as much practice as possible with. It also uses frequent use of accidentals, mainly because when the tonal centers shift, the key signature doesn't. So there'll be a lot of accidentals as we go through our different tonal centers, which I think is always good practice for sight reading. Now, why would I put this in my program? Well, for one, I think this is a great example for an introduction to program music. Personally, I've always been divided absolute and program music, and I've always tended to lean more toward absolute music, but I want to make sure that my students don't follow absolute music just because I listen to it more. I want to make sure that they have exposure to all styles of music and hopefully don't even have a favorite, just judge all equally. But I think this is a great example of an introduction to program music. The title alone, Portrait and Clown, suggests images of paintings maybe in an art gallery or an exhibit, but it's a song that's about something. And I think it makes a good introduction to romantic music, which will follow later. Also, many of the doublings in this composition allow for bands with insufficient instrumentation to still pull it off successfully. That's something that I'm always concerned about. And that's Portrait of a Clown. Next up, I've chosen for my midwinter program Carpathian Sketches by Robert Yeager. The publisher is Hal Leonard. It's a grade level 2 composition composed in 1970. The performance duration is 3 minutes and 11 seconds. This composition is also modal, which will challenge younger students not only with frequent accidentals, but also with unpredictable melodies, which encourages them to sight read, sight read, sight read, which I think is very important for instrumental ensembles. There are shifting dynamics and articulations throughout the piece, which is great for what I call the concentration factor. You've got to focus. You can't just let the song always play itself. Why would I choose this piece? Well, it has a fanfare-styled beginning, which I think is a great attention getter for both rehearsals and performances. Also, the tonality is minor, which is very important for younger players, as I feel that most pieces at this level are in major keys, so they probably don't get their exposure to minor like they should. And it also, due to the composition, which was included many European folk music themes, it exposes students to a diversity of culture, which I think is always good, whether you're in music class or not. My third piece for my spring program is Down a Country Lane by Aaron Copland. The publisher is Boosey and Hawkes, Hal Leonard. It's a grade level 2 piece composed in 1962 with a performance duration of 3 minutes and 30 seconds. The teaching concepts that I would concentrate on in this piece, there's a moderate tempo with nothing smaller than eighth notes and a few dotted rhythms. This, to get correct, should be challenging but not frustrating, and that's what I like about it. It also introduces grace notes, which will expose students to what I call momentary rhythms. I can't say how many times students have asked me, what are those little mini notes? What do those mean? And at least this is a good example to explain that to them. The sight reading is in the keys of F major and D flat major. which I am planning on having some extra practice time on reviewing flats, making sure that the students are comfortable playing in those keys to be able to perform this piece. Why would I pick this piece? Well, for one, it's Aaron Copland, and I think it showcases a modern composer very well. I've often thought of Aaron Copland. I don't know if Aaron Copland would appreciate this, but I mean it with all due respect as the other kind of country music. It's not the tear in my beer kind of country music that you might hear down at the local pub, but it's the kind of country music that makes you think of images of westward expansion and mountain ranges and wide open prairies and God's country and that constant image of John Wayne riding across on his horse. And I think Aaron Copland has had such an influence on ensemble music that I hear that sound everywhere. So I think that's a great a great introduction to that. Also, expression is very important with legato phrasing throughout and the use of rubato by the conductor, which I'm kind of looking forward to attempting. And I also feel that Down a Country Lane fits the theme of spring. Moving on to my second ensemble, which is, let me make sure I have this right. Yes, high school orchestra. For my late fall winter program, I chose She Will Hang the Night with Stars. The composer is William Hofelt. The publisher is Neil A. Joes. The grade level is 3. It was composed in 2016 with a performance duration of 4 minutes and 45 seconds. The teaching concepts for this piece aren't really all that much in terms of physical concepts. The biggest challenge that I see will be the upper range and position playing for violin 1. Other than that, I think it'll flow fairly easily. Why would I choose this program? Well, its melody is romantic and bittersweet, yet orchestra and listener friendly. It immediately reminded me of the style of Barbara Allen or Ashokan Farewell, with plenty of legato phrasing and lyricism. I think it's a great piece for learning expression with subtle tempo and dynamic changes, but in a way that the listener just can't help to be drawn into it. My midwinter piece, next up, is the finale for Symphony 41, the Jupiter Symphony. It was composed by Mozart. This version was arranged by Carrie Lane Grussell. The publisher is FJH Music. The grade level is number 4. The year composed was 1788. The performance duration is 3 minutes and 45 seconds. The teaching concepts for this piece that I will concentrate on are long flowing legato passages at quicker tempos. I'm expecting those to need more sectional rehearsals, but once we can get those down and plug them back into the complete performance of the song, I think it'll work. Now, I know I said it was a grade level 4, and the criteria for this assignment was grade level 3, but the only reason that I chose to go with it is because I've seen this piece performed in person by a high school ensemble, and I think it worked really well. I think they can meet the challenge, and the ensemble that I saw did meet the challenge. They went very well, and I think that I think my future high school ensembles, if I have one, can do it as well. I also chose to put this in the program because it's Mozart, for one. We have to have Mozart in there somewhere. It has the reputation for being one of the grandest symphonies ever composed, mainly due to its qualities of being humorous, energetic, and unusually grand, even for a symphony. This arrangement, the finale, is where most of the excitement occurs, so that's why I chose that. My third and final piece for high school orchestra for my spring program is Rhythm Dances by Brian Balmages. It's published by FJH Music. It's also a level 4 piece, which I know does go outside of the criteria for this assignment, but once again, I've seen it performed live by a high school ensemble, and I thought they did a great job with it. I don't think it's anything that's outside of any high school ensemble's reaches. It will be an extra challenge, but I think it's doable. The year of composition was 2015. The performance duration length is 3 minutes and 30 seconds. The teaching concepts that I would concentrate on is legato and staccato phrasing along with intense rhythms that are used extensively in this piece. I'm planning on extra sectional practice to get these correct and back into the full orchestra. Why would I choose this piece? Well, it's a composition filled with fun and excitement right from the start. It's big, it's bold, it's alive, it grabs your attention and doesn't let it go. Because of this, orchestras and audiences alike are going to love it. Um, I also like it as a choice for a spring concert because it sounds to me as if everything's coming to life. Well, that's my video presentation for my instrumental class final. I had a great job. I had a great time doing everything in this class from the beginning to the end. I hope you enjoyed my presentation. Thank you.